You know, one of the best gifts you can give that special someone in your life, especially if they're a DIY tool lover like myself, is a household toolkit for those small jobs, or a picture hanging tool for the decorator in them. You can find all those over at calibrate.com, including our newly added gift set tool bags and gift boxes with all the goodies in them. Head on over to calibrate.com and grab yours today while supplies last. Links in the description. Alright, so if you got some cracks in your wood, first of all, you just want to clean it out as best you can. Just take a soft bristle paintbrush, kind of scrub it out there a little bit. And if you could, you can sand it down a little bit too to get it nice and smooth and level, okay? And you can add your caulking if you don't have any on your scraper or spatula already. Just add a couple of beads of caulking. It depends on how deep it is. These plastic scrapers are great because they can flex. So you can come at it from a diagonal angle, vertical as well, down, top down, however you want to do it. And just bring it down over the crack. Now you can see that it's not filled up entirely yet. Right, so you're gonna have to add more caulking. Still got a little bit more on your scraper here, so you can angle it more vertically and come down like that. Get that off of there. Okay, still not there just yet. Take that. You can even put that in there. Okay, so now you want to add a little bit more caulking. Add a couple of beads. Make sure you fill that thing up. Down. You could even scrape some of the excess caulking down from the top down onto the area so you won't waste that. Then after it hardens, you can give it a light sanding down to a nice smooth finish. Okay, so got the caps primed. Now we're priming the beams, just the spots that needed repair or needed patching, you know. And after that, we're gonna sort these and we're gonna prime those too before we put them up. Okay, so just finished priming this section right here. Putting some prime over the areas that needed repair or needed patching. So that section's next. so I put the beams on each ladder, each end on each ladder, you know, to raise it up so I won't have to stoop down to get to them. Don't have any sawhorses for that, so I just use the ladders. Sometimes you got to improvise. So what I'm doing is I am caulking any cracks I see in the wood. Okay, I just finished caulking this side, and I'm gonna flip it. So I'm gonna get stuff like that. All right, seal all that up, because moisture can get to it. Even though it's been primed already, I go over it again with the caulking to get whatever the prime didn't get. Okay, so you see the ends of the wood, how they have the curve to them? Well, we have to do the same thing to these. Matter of fact, I got some cut over there already, but if you don't cut them right, you can end up with a mess and some uneven cutting. So let's get into that. All right, guys, when you're getting ready to cut your wood, you want to look for any bows in your wood, right? Any bends in the wood, okay? So if it's sagging to one side, you want to notice that. So for example, if we notice that our wood has a bow in it, we want to rest it on our cutting surface, right? So we can see the bow on either side. So when we rest our wood on the cutting surface, we want to rest it where we can see the bow to the left or the right. We don't want to rest it where the bow is not visible. We want to rest it where we can see it, right? Either side, whether it's that side or this side, okay? We know that we want our cut to be facing down. We want this to be facing the ground, right? We know that. That's how it is up there now. So we have it on our cutting surface where we can see the bow, right? And that's the position we want our wood in when we rest our template on it, okay? Like that. So now you have your template on your wood, and you have the side that you want facing down, right? Let's just say that's the ground. Why? Because we want our bow to face the ground as well. But when we're cutting, we have to have it where we can see the bow, right? And then we trace our line there. Okay, if we don't do that and we're not paying attention, let's just say the bow is underneath, right? Or on top, and we forget that minor detail. What we're gonna do is we're gonna rest it on here, we're gonna cut it, and then when we place it on the veranda there, the cut's gonna be underneath facing the ground, but guess what? The bow is gonna be visible on the sides, and that's what we don't want. So make sure that when you're cutting your wood, make sure that the bow is either facing the left or the right, all right? Then you place your template on it or whatever you have, trace your line, cut. Then when you turn it over, the bow is gonna be underneath and nobody will be able to see the bow at all, especially after you fasten it to the wood with screws or lag bolts or anything like that. So this wood is relatively straight, so there's really no bowing in it. And if it is, it's very slight. So I'm gonna place my template on the wood like that, draw my line. So we're gonna use a jigsaw, okay? You gotta be careful when you're using a jigsaw. You wanna make sure that you look at the table right here and make sure that it's at a 90-degree angle to your blade. Some jigsaws, they tilt, like this one tilts, right? It can go like that, it can go like that. If you put it on there and it's tilted, you'll come out with a crooked line, okay? So what you wanna do is make sure that it's at a 90-degree angle to your blade, that it's perpendicular to your blade. Lock it in at that angle. You can eyeball it to make sure that it's straight. Now the thing with this is, if you start cutting back here, right? You got this much thickness here and you start cutting back here, what can happen is that you may end up with a crooked blade back here, and you don't want that because this would be crooked. you have more forgiveness over here if it's crooked. So you may want to start cutting here. That way you know it's straight when you start, instead of ending up crooked here where there's really no forgiveness. So you want to start here. And that's from trial and error, guys. And you want to take your time when you cut as well. You don't want to go too fast around the bend, okay? Around this curve here. And you also want to make sure you apply enough pressure, and you don't want to lift up or do anything like that, because then the blade will start jumping on you. And you want to start it before you contact the material. Now, obviously, this piece didn't fall off like you may have expected it to, because this blade isn't long enough, right? And went back to the store, and this is the longest they had. Now, some of you may be saying, well, let's use the template again. You can't necessarily do that, because if you notice on the template, it's not even itself, right? This side is not the same as this side. Notice the slant right here, right? That's going to bring this side in a little further. So if I put it on here, my line's going to end up ending right here. And we don't want that, right? We want it to end right there. So even the original wood had uneven cuts in it, right? So what we're going to do, we're pretty much going to feel our way around the curve, right? Okay, so we chipped the paint a little bit, but we can sand that down and repaint it and get all of these burrs off of here. And there you go. All right, guys, you gotta be careful leaving your lumber hanging like this, okay? That's how they get bowed as well, especially if they don't have any support underneath them, okay, for that length of lumber. Over time, it can develop a bow in it. Take them off your sawhorses and just lay them on the ground.